What if Padmé raised the Skywalker twins? Let's explore the depths of it in this video. Padmé Amidala is dying. The medical droids say she's lost the will to live. Her husband just tried to kill her. The Republic has fallen. The Jedi are dead. Everything she fought for is ashes. And in her arms, 2 newborn babies cry for a mother who is slipping away. This is where our story should end. In every timeline, in every version of events, Padmé Amidala dies on this table. She whispers her children's names. She tells Obi-Wan there's still good in Anakin. And then she's gone. But what if she wasn't? What if, in this moment, Padmé looked at her children and made a different choice? What if the woman who faced down the Trade Federation at 14, who stood against Palpatine in the Senate, who loved a Jedi against all rules and reason, refused to surrender one final time? What if Padmé Amidala chose to live? That single choice changes everything. It means Luke and Leia grow up together. It means they train side by side, fight side by side, become something the galaxy has never seen. It means Darth Vader spends 19 years hunting for a family he doesn't know exists. And it means that when father and children finally meet, the confrontation will shake the foundations of the Empire itself. This is the story of a mother who refused to die, a family torn apart and brought back together, and a choice that rewrote the destiny of a galaxy. It begins here, on Polis Massa, in a medical bay filled with grief and impossible hope. The medical droid's voice is flat, clinical. Medically, she is completely healthy. For reasons we cannot explain, we are losing her. Obi-Wan Kenobi stands at Padmé's bedside, his heart breaking for perhaps the 100th time in the past day. Mustafar's fires still burn in his memory. Anakin's screams still echo. And now this. Now the woman his best friend loved is slipping away, taking 2 innocent lives with her. She's lost the will to live? Bail Organa asks, incredulous. We need to operate quickly if we are to save the babies. Padmé screams. The labor is brutal, made worse by her broken spirit. Obi-Wan holds her hand, trying to give her strength, trying to find the right words. But what words exist for this? What comfort can he offer a woman whose husband just became a monster? It's a boy, the droid announces. The baby cries, strong lungs, a fighter already. And something shifts in Padmé's eyes. Luke, she whispers, and there is wonder in her voice despite the pain. She reaches for him. Her fingers brush his tiny cheek. Her son, her and Anakin's son, innocent, pure, everything Anakin once was. And a girl. Leia enters the world screaming, angry at the universe from her first breath. Padmé laughs through her tears. She knows that sound. She's made that sound in countless Senate debates. Leia, she breathes. Obi-Wan watches her hold both children, one in each arm. He can feel her life force, flickering, can sense her teetering on the edge of an abyss. The dark void of despair that claimed her when she saw what Anakin had become, when she felt his hands around her throat. Padmé, he says gently, you must hold on. For them. He's gone, Obi-Wan. Her voice cracks. Anakin is gone. What reason do I have to? Luke coos. A small sound, a baby sound. But in the Force, it resonates like a bell, like a call. Padmé looks down at her son, then at her daughter. 2 lives. 2 perfect, innocent lives that need her. That will need her every day for years to come. And somewhere deep within Padmé Amidala, the queen who liberated her planet, the senator who fought for democracy, the woman who never surrendered to tyranny, something ignites. No, the word is quiet, but it is steel. No, she says again, stronger now. I will not abandon them. I will not leave them alone in this galaxy he's created. Obi-Wan blinks. He can feel it, the Force shifting around her. Not in the way it moves for Jedi, but in the way it responds to absolute conviction, to unshakable will. Padmé Amidala has made a choice, and the universe itself seems to acknowledge it. Her vital signs stabilize. The medical droid tilts its head in what might be confusion, if droids could feel such things. She is recovering. This is unprecedented. Bail exhales in relief. What changed? Padmé meets Obi-Wan's eyes, and for a moment, he sees the fire that Anakin must have fallen in love with. The fire that brought down a corrupt chancellor's manipulations time and time again. The fire that would burn for 2 decades more, lighting the way for rebellion. They need a mother, Padmé says simply, and I will be one. In the hours that follow, decisions must be made. Hard decisions. The kind that keep Jedi Masters awake at night and haunt senators in their dreams. Master Yoda appears as a hologram, his ancient face grim. Hidden, safe, the children must be kept. Strong with the Force they are. If the Sith discover them, we should separate them, Obi-Wan says, though the words taste like ash. Send Luke to Tatooine, to Owen and Beru. Send Leia to Alderaan with Bail. Together, they shine too brightly in the Force. Apart, they might escape notice. Bail nods slowly. My wife and I have always wanted a daughter. We could raise Leia as our own, give her every advantage, prepare her for the fight ahead. And Owen is a good man, Obi-Wan adds. Simple, hardworking. He could give Luke a quiet life, far from the Emperor's reach. Padmé listens to this. She understands the logic, the wisdom. These are Jedi Masters and veteran politicians speaking. They know the dangers better than almost anyone. But when she looks at her children, Luke sleeping peacefully, Leia already grasping at the air with tiny fists, she feels something deeper than logic. No. The room falls silent. Padmé, Bail begins. I understand this is difficult, but I said no. Her voice doesn't rise. It doesn't need to. There's something in it that silences all argument. They are all I have left of him, of who Anakin truly was. Before, she swallows. Before, I will not separate them. They will not grow up wondering about siblings they've never met. They will not spend their lives incomplete. Yoda's hologram flickers. Dangerous, this path is. If the Empire finds them, then I will die protecting them. Padmé meets his ancient eyes without fear. Just as I would die for any cause worth believing in. The difference is that this cause will fight back. This cause will grow strong. And one day, Master Yoda, this cause might be the very thing that brings the Sith down. Obi-Wan studies her for a long moment. He has seen Padmé Amidala face impossible odds before. He has seen her infiltrate her own palace, rally her people, and defeat an army with nothing but courage and conviction. He has learned never to underestimate her. If you do this, he says carefully, you must disappear completely. No more Padmé Amidala, no more senator, no contact with anyone from your former life. You must become a ghost. Then I'll become a ghost. For them. The children will still shine in the Force, Yoda warns. Training they will need. Control they must learn, or their presence will betray them. Then train them. Padmé's eyes bore into the ancient master. Not to be soldiers, not to be weapons. Just to survive. Just to hide. Yoda is silent for a long time. When he finally speaks, there is something in his voice that might be respect, or perhaps regret for paths not taken. Visit them I cannot. Too recognizable I am. But Master Kenobi, Watch over them from afar, he can. Train them in secret, he will. Obi-Wan nods. It is the least he can do. For Anakin. For the friend he failed. For the children who carry his legacy. Bail Organa rises. Where will you go? Padmé has already thought about this. Alderaan is too obvious. Bail's connection to her is well known. Naboo is impossible. The Empire would monitor her homeworld forever. She needs somewhere forgotten. Somewhere the galaxy overlooks. The Outer Rim, she says. There are worlds out there that have never seen a senator or a Jedi. Worlds where people just live, work the land, raise their children, disappear into ordinary lives. I know of a place, Bail offers quietly. A moon called Rishi, remote, harsh. But there's a farming community there that asks no questions. They've sheltered refugees before. Padmé commits the name to memory. Rishi, her new home, her children's first home. There's one more thing, she says. I need to die. Obi-Wan's brow furrows. What do you mean? Padmé Amidala needs to die. Publicly, completely. There must be a funeral, a body, a story that even the Emperor himself believes. She looks at each of them in turn. Can you arrange that? The next few days are a blur of preparation and heartbreak. Bail returns to Naboo with a body, a woman who died in a mining accident, altered to resemble Padmé with heartbreaking precision. The funeral is massive. All of Naboo mourns their beloved queen, their champion senator. Thousands line the streets as the casket passes, flowers raining down like tears. Emperor Palpatine himself sends a message of condolence, dripping with false sorrow. He praises her service to the Republic. He mourns the loss of such a talented voice. And in a small medical frigate jumping through hyperspace, Padmé Amidala watches the funeral broadcast with dry eyes. She is already gone. Her new name is Vere, a farmer's wife, recently widowed, seeking a fresh start on a forgotten moon. She arrives on Rishi with 2 infants and a handful of credits and nothing else. No jewels, no fine clothes, no trace of her former life. The farming community accepts her without question. They've seen refugees before, seen people running from tragedy. They don't pry. They just help her build a small homestead at the edge of the settlement, where the windswept plains meet the rocky highlands. It is hard work, harder than anything Padmé has ever done. Her hands, which once held royal scepters and signed treaties, now grip farming tools. Her back, which once bore the weight of elaborate gowns, now bends over crops. Her voice, which once echoed through Senate chambers, now sings lullabies in the night. But she adapts. She survives. She thrives. And she watches her children grow. Luke takes to the rural life like he was born for it. Perhaps, in some way, he was. Anakin's childhood on Tatooine left echoes in his son, an instinct for machines and a love of open skies. By age 5, Luke can repair a moisture evaporator. By 7, he's the best young pilot in the settlement's small fleet of crop dusters. Leia is different. She chafes at the quiet life, at the endless routines of farming. She asks questions constantly about the Empire, about politics, about why things are the way they are. She organizes the other children into elaborate games that somehow always end up being about strategy and resistance. Padmé watches them both with wonder and worry in equal measure. The first time Luke moves something with the Force, he is 6 years old. Padmé is in the kitchen when she hears the crash. She runs to the children's room to find Luke sitting in the middle of the floor, surrounded by floating toys. His eyes are closed, his face peaceful, completely unaware that he's doing anything unusual. When he opens his eyes and sees his mother's expression, everything crashes to the ground. "Mama, what's wrong?" Padmé takes a deep breath. then another. She has known this day would come, has dreaded it and hoped for it in equal measure. Nothing's wrong, sweetheart. She kneels beside him, takes his small hands in hers. Can you tell me what you were feeling before the toys started floating? Luke's brow furrows in concentration. I was just happy, playing, and I wanted to share my toys with all my friends at once, and they started floating. He nods, confused. Is that bad? No, Luke. It's not bad, She searches for the right words. It's a gift. A very special gift that you must be very careful with. Why? Because there are men in black armor who would take you away. Because there is an emperor who would turn you into a weapon. Because your father was once the most powerful person to ever have this gift. And he used it to destroy everything good in the galaxy. Because some people wouldn't understand, she says gently, and they might be scared of you. So we need to keep this a secret, okay? Just between us. Luke nods solemnly. He is good at keeping secrets. Mama has lots of secrets. A week later, Leia throws a tantrum that cracks every window in the house. Padmé stands amid the shattered glass, her daughter sobbing in the corner, and feels the weight of her choices pressing down on her. These children need more than she can give them. They need training, control. They need someone who understands what flows through their veins. That night, after the twins are asleep, Padmé activates a hidden communicator, one she has kept for emergencies, one she has never used before. Obi-Wan, I need your help. He comes in the dark of night, his Jedi robes exchanged for a farmer's simple garb. He looks older than she remembers. The weight of the galaxy's fall has carved new lines into his face. But his eyes are still kind. Still the eyes of the man who was Anakin's brother. You were right to call, he says, watching the twins sleep. Their power is remarkable. I can feel it from here. Can you teach them? Not to fight, just to hide, to control it. Obi-Wan nods slowly. I can try. But Padmé, you must understand. Their father was the most powerful Jedi in history. If they've inherited even a fraction of that power. I know. Her voice is steady, but her hands shake. I know what they might become, what they might have to face. But right now, they're children, my children, and I need them safe. So begins a new chapter in their hidden life. Obi-Wan visits every few months, staying for a week or two at a time. To the settlement, he is Padmé's brother, a wandering farmhand who helps with the harvest. In private, he is a teacher unlike any other. He doesn't train them like Jedi younglings. There are no katas, no lightsaber forms, no lessons in combat. Instead, he teaches them meditation, breathing, stillness, how to quiet the raging river of the Force within them until it becomes a calm pond, invisible to anyone searching. The Force is always with you, he tells them during one lesson. It flows through all living things, but those who seek to harm you can sense it, like hearing a song from far away. Your job is to sing softly, to become part of the background music, invisible. Leia struggles with this. Her emotions run too hot, her passions too strong. When she's angry, the Force crackles around her like lightning. When she's sad, it weighs down the room like a heavy fog. I can't do it, she snaps after another failed meditation. It's stupid. Why should I hide? Why should I be afraid? Obi-Wan is patient. Because there are those who would destroy you if they knew what you were, and you are far too important to be destroyed. Important to who? He pauses, considers, finally speaks a truth he has held back for years. To the galaxy, to the future, to everything that might yet be saved. Luke, by contrast, takes to the training like water finding its level. He has his father's raw talent, but none of his father's restlessness. He can sit for hours, perfectly still, his presence in the Force dimmed to almost nothing. "You have your mother's patience," Obi-Wan tells him once, "and your father's power. That is a rare combination." Luke looks up, curiosity in his blue eyes. "You knew my father?" Obi-Wan hesitates. Padmé has told the children that their father was a Jedi who died in the Clone Wars. It is a version of the truth, the best version he knows how to offer. "I did," he says carefully. "He was my brother in all but blood. The finest pilot I ever knew. Brave beyond measure. He saved my life more times than I can count." What happened to him? And here it is, the question that Obi-Wan has dreaded for 8 years. "He was lost," Obi-Wan says finally. "In the darkness that took the Jedi. That took everything." Luke is silent for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is small but certain. "I want to be like him. The good parts." Obi-Wan feels something crack in his chest. Pride and grief and terrible hope, all mixed together. "Then you will be," he says. "I have no doubt of that." The years pass. The twins grow, and the galaxy suffers. Padmé keeps a journal during these years, not written, for that would be too dangerous, but recorded in her memory, carved into her heart. She watches Luke learn to walk, then run, then fly makeshift gliders off the cliff faces near their home. She watches Leia organize the other children into elaborate games, always taking the lead, always demanding more from everyone, including herself. She sees Anakin in both of them, and it breaks her heart every time. Luke has his father's mechanical genius. By age 7, he can take apart a speeder engine and put it back together with improvements. He has Anakin's restless energy, his need to move and create and push boundaries. But he also has a gentleness that Anakin lacked, a patience, a willingness to listen that comes from somewhere Padmé can't quite identify. Leia has Anakin's passion and his temper. When she believes in something, she throws herself into it completely, without reservation or retreat. She has her father's tactical mind, his ability to see patterns others miss. But she also has a fire that frightens Padmé sometimes, a capacity for righteous anger that could easily turn dark if not carefully guided. Obi-Wan notices it too. "She reminds me of him," he says quietly during one of his visits. Before the fall, before Palpatine got his hooks into him, that same intensity, that same refusal to accept limits. Is that a warning? It's an observation. Anakin's fall was not inevitable. It was a series of choices, each one building on the last, each one taking him further from the light. If Leia is guided properly, she could become everything Anakin should have been. And if she isn't? Obi-Wan is silent for a long moment. Then we will have failed her, as we failed him. Padmé adds this to the list of fears she carries, the weight she bears alone in the quiet hours of the night. She is mother and protector and teacher and guardian. She must be everything to 2 children who carry the most dangerous legacy in the galaxy. Some days, it is almost too much. Some days, she looks at the stars and wonders what would have happened if she had made different choices. If she had told the Jedi Council about her marriage. If she had recognized Palpatine's manipulation sooner. If she had been able to reach Anakin on Mustafar before the darkness took him completely. But those thoughts lead nowhere. The past is fixed. Only the future remains. And the future is her children. Even on Rishi, they cannot escape the Empire's shadow completely. News filters in from traders and travelers, stories of worlds crushed beneath imperial boots, of resources stripped and populations enslaved, of resistance movements rising and falling like waves against an unyielding shore. Padmé listens to everything. She catalogs names, worlds, patterns of imperial movement. Old habits die hard, and the senator in her never truly went to sleep. She begins to see the shape of things, where the empire is weak, where it is strong, where cracks might one day appear. But she keeps this to herself. For now, her only duty is to her children. When the twins are 10, Leia asks the question Padmé has always feared. "Mama, why do we hide?" They are sitting on the roof of their home, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and red. It is their ritual, these sunset conversations. A time for truths that are too heavy for daylight. Because there are people who would hurt us if they knew who we were before. Leia's eyes are sharp, too sharp for a child. You were someone important, weren't you? Before you were a farmer? Padmé is silent for a long moment. Then she reaches out and takes her daughter's hand. "I was a queen once, and a senator. I fought for people who couldn't fight for themselves. I stood against tyranny in all its forms." Leia's eyes go wide. "A queen?" "Of Naboo, a beautiful world, covered in lakes and meadows. I was very young, not much older than you are now." "What happened?" "The Republic fell. The man I loved." Padmé's voice catches. "He fell too. And I had to choose between dying with the old world or living to build something new." Leia thinks about this. "You chose us." "Yes." "And our father? The Jedi who died?" Padmé closes her eyes. She has rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. 1,000 different versions of the truth, trying to find one that will hurt the least. "Your father was the most powerful Jedi who ever lived," she says finally. "And he loved you both more than anything in the galaxy. But he made terrible choices. He hurt people. He became someone I didn't recognize." "Is he really dead?" The question cuts like a knife. Leia has always been too perceptive. "The man I loved, the man your father truly was. Yes, he is dead. But Anakin's body lives on, and she cannot bring herself to say the rest." Luke asks his own question 3 days later. They are working on a broken harvester together. Luke's hands dancing over the machinery with instinctive grace. When he suddenly looks up, "Mama, I feel him sometimes." Padmé's blood runs cold. "Feel who?" "I don't know. Someone dark, like a shadow on the other side of the galaxy. He feels like me, but wrong. Broken." Luke's eyes are troubled. "Who is he?" And Padmé knows she cannot delay any longer. That night, she gathers both twins. She sits them down and tells them everything. She tells them about a slave boy on Tatooine who dreamed of freedom, about a Jedi Knight who became a hero of the Clone Wars, about forbidden love and secret marriage and the joy of learning she was pregnant. She tells them about Palpatine's manipulation, about the Jedi Purge, about the birth of the Empire from the ashes of democracy. And she tells them about Darth Vader. "Your father is alive," she says, each word costing her more than they will ever know. "But he is not the man I loved. He serves the Emperor now. He hunts Jedi. He has done terrible, terrible things. And if he ever found you..." Luke is crying, quiet tears streaming down his face. But there is something in his eyes that isn't fear or anger, something that looks almost like hope. "But he's still in there," he whispers. "Isn't he? The good part of him. The part that loved you, that loves us. I can feel it sometimes. far away. Padmé doesn't know how to answer. Leia is not crying. Her face is a mask of stone, her emotions locked down with a control that Obi-Wan has spent years teaching her. But beneath that mask, something burns. He killed the Jedi. He helped destroy the Republic. He serves the man who enslaved the galaxy. Her voice is ice. I don't care what he was. I care what he is. Leia. No. She stands, fists clenched at her sides. He made his choice. He chose power over us, over you, over everything good. He doesn't deserve our sympathy. He doesn't deserve to be redeemed. She storms out of the room. The door slams behind her. Luke looks at his mother, confusion and sorrow warring in his face. She doesn't mean it, he says. She's just hurt. Padmé pulls, her son close, holds him tight. I know, my love. I know. But she wonders, in the dark places of her heart, which twin has the right of it? The years continue to pass. The twins grow into young adults, shaped by their mother's wisdom and Obi-Wan's training in the harsh realities of life on the Outer Rim. Luke becomes a pilot of extraordinary skill, flying cargo runs to neighboring settlements, earning money for the family while secretly testing the limits of his abilities. He has his father's instincts in the cockpit, that supernatural awareness of everything around him, the ability to react before threats even materialize. Leia throws herself into learning everything she can about the Empire. She collects news reports, maps troop movements, studies the structure of Imperial governance. She sees patterns that others miss, weaknesses that others overlook. The strategist in her is awakening, hungry for a fight she is not yet old enough to join. And then, when the twins are 13, the Empire comes to Rishi. It begins with a ship, an Imperial patrol vessel, investigating reports of unusual energy readings in the system. They are not looking for Force sensitives, not specifically. But when they scan the planet's surface, something catches their attention. Two bright sparks of power, shining like beacons in the Force. The Inquisitor arrives 3 days later. She is a Twi'lek, her leku wrapped in black cloth, her eyes golden with the dark side's corruption. Once, she was a Jedi youngling, a child of promise and hope. Now she is a hunter, a blade of the Empire, tasked with rooting out the last remnants of the old order. There are children here, she reports to her masters. Strong ones. Perhaps the strongest I have ever sensed. Padmé feels her coming before she arrives. It is not the Force, she has none of that power, but the instincts of a survivor, honed over years of hiding. Something changes in the air. The farmers of the settlement grow nervous, watching the sky. Ships that should have arrived don't. Communications become unreliable. She gathers her children that night. We may have to run, she tells them. I need you both to be ready. Luke nods, his face serious. He has known this day might come. He has prepared for it in his way. Always keeping a bag packed, always knowing the fastest route to their hidden ship. Leia's jaw sets with determination. What if we don't run? What if we fight? We are not warriors, Leia, not yet. Our job is to survive, to live to fight another day. But no buts. Padmé's voice is steel. I did not keep you alive for 13 years to lose you to pride. We run, we regroup, we find another way. The Inquisitor strikes 2 nights later. She comes with a squad of stormtroopers, descending on the settlement like a plague of white-armored locusts. Their transports cut through the night sky, spotlights blazing, boots hitting the ground in coordinated waves. They round up the farmers, drag them into the central square, and the Inquisitor strides among them, her red lightsaber casting crimson shadows. The settlement has no defenses, no weapons worth mentioning. The farmers are peaceful people who asked for nothing more than to be left alone. But the Empire does not leave anyone alone. "I know you're here," the Inquisitor calls out, her voice carrying through the night. "I can feel your fear, your power. Come to me now, and these people will be spared. Resist, and they will suffer for your cowardice." She walks among the kneeling farmers, her blade humming near their faces. An old man, one who helped Padmé build her homestead when she first arrived, flinches as the crimson glow passes inches from his eyes. Such simple folk, the Inquisitor muses. Such ordinary lives. Do they even know what they've been harboring? Do they understand the power that walks among them? Padmé is hidden in the rocks above the settlement, her children beside her. She has a blaster in her hand, the one weapon she kept from her old life, hidden away for emergencies. Her fingers are steady despite the terror clawing at her heart. "Mama," Luke whispers, his voice anguished. "They'll kill everyone. We have to help them. If we reveal ourselves, we all die." "But, Luke, listen to me. These people know the risk. They have always known. If we fall here, everything is lost. Not just us. Everything. Do you understand?" He doesn't want to understand. Every fiber of his being screams to help, to protect, to save. The force flows through him like a river of light, and every instinct tells him to use it, to strike down the darkness that threatens innocent lives. But he nods, tears streaming down his face. His mother is right. He knows she is right, and that knowledge is almost worse than the alternative. Leia is already moving. She has slipped away while they argued, silent as a ghost, the Force masking her presence. Before Padmé can stop her, she is halfway to the settlement, a stolen blaster in her hands. Her jaw is set, her eyes burning with a fury that would frighten grown men. She will not let these people die, not if there is anything she can do to stop it. The Inquisitor feels her coming, turns, smiles. "Ah, there you are." Leia opens fire. What happens next is chaos. The stormtroopers scatter as blaster bolts rain down from an unexpected angle. The farmers, brave people, survivors, people who have never surrendered to tyranny, use the distraction to fight back. Fists fly. Makeshift weapons appear. The night explodes into violence. The Inquisitor laughs and ignites her lightsaber, deflecting Leia's shots with casual ease. She advances, her golden eyes fixed on the girl who dared to challenge her. Such fire, such passion. You would make an excellent Inquisitor yourself, child. Let me show you the power of the dark side. Leia doesn't answer with words. She reaches out with the Force, raw, untrained, fueled by rage, and hurls a boulder at the Inquisitor's head. It is not elegant, it is not precise, but it is powerful. The Inquisitor barely dodges, her smirk vanishing. Impressive, but not enough. She raises her hand, and Leia feels herself being lifted off the ground, invisible fingers closing around her throat. Then Luke arrives. He drops from the rocks like a thunderbolt, the Force cushioning his fall, his mother's blaster blazing in his hands. His shots are impossibly accurate. Stormtroopers fall before they can even react. He lands beside his sister, places his hand against the Inquisitor's Force grip, and pushes. The pressure vanishes. Leia drops to the ground, gasping. "Two of them," the Inquisitor breathes. "Twins. This is better than I ever imagined." She lunges at them, her red blade singing through the air. The twins have no lightsabers, no weapons that can stand against hers. All they have is each other, and the Force that flows between them like a river of light. They dodge in perfect synchrony, moving as one, anticipating each other's movements without thought. When the Inquisitor strikes at Luke, Leia hurls debris at her back. When she turns to deal with Leia, Luke's force pushes her off balance. It is not enough to defeat her, but it is enough to hold her at bay. Remarkable, the Inquisitor hisses. But you cannot keep this up forever. She is right. They are tiring. Their untrained powers are draining faster than her honed abilities. In minutes, perhaps seconds, they will falter. And then a new presence enters the field. Obi-Wan Kenobi stands at the edge of the square, his lightsaber ignited, its blue glow cutting through the crimson night. "Children," he says calmly, "go to your mother. Now." The Inquisitor's eyes widen. "A Jedi. A real Jedi. This truly is my lucky day." "Your luck has just run out." He attacks. Obi-Wan is not the fighter he once was. Age has slowed him. Years of hiding have dulled his edge. But he is still a Jedi Master, still the man who defeated Darth Maul and held his own against Darth Vader himself. The Inquisitor is good. She is fast and vicious and hungry for glory. But she is not good enough. Their blades clash in a furious dance, red against blue, the Force swirling around them. Obi-Wan gives ground slowly, drawing her away from the twins, buying them time to escape. "Run," he calls without looking back. "Get off this planet. Don't look back." Padmé is there suddenly, pulling her children toward their hidden ship. Luke resists, wanting to help, but his mother's grip is iron. "He's giving us a chance," she says. "Don't waste it." They run. Behind them, Obi-Wan continues to fight. He is buying them time with his own life, just as he did on the Death Star in another timeline. Just as he always knew he would. The Inquisitor overextends. Obi-Wan sees the opening, the same opening he exploited against Darth Maul a lifetime ago, and strikes. Her lightsaber clatters to the ground. She stares at the wound in her chest, disbelief written across her face. "How?" she gasps. "You were trained by Vader," Obi-Wan says quietly. "I trained Vader. I know every weakness in his style, every flaw he passed on to his students." She falls. Obi-Wan deactivates his lightsaber. He looks toward the horizon, where a small ship is rising into the sky, carrying the last hope of the galaxy toward safety. He allows himself a small smile. Then he vanishes into the night, just as the Imperial reinforcements arrive. The ship enters hyperspace with moments to spare. Inside, Padmé holds her children close, feeling their hearts beat against hers, thanking every power in the universe that they are still alive. "Where do we go?" Luke asks quietly. Padmé has already been thinking about this. There is only one answer that makes sense. "It's time to stop hiding," she says. "It's time to fight." The rebellion is not what Padmé expected. She remembered Mon Mothma from the old days, cool, composed, the perfect diplomat. She remembered Bail Organa, her friend and ally, the man who helped her disappear so many years ago. She expected organization, structure, a shadow of the Senate they once served. What she finds is chaos. The Rebel Alliance is a patchwork of desperate cells, each fighting their own war against the Empire. They have no unified command, no central leadership, no cohesive strategy. They are held together by hope and anger and little else. But they are fighters, every one of them. Padmé arrives at a hidden base on Yavin 4 with her children and a message. "I am still alive, and I am ready to serve." The reaction is immediate. "Padmé Amidala." Mon Mothma stares at her like she's seeing a ghost, which, in a sense, she is. "We thought everyone thought. I know what everyone thought. It's what I wanted them to think." Padmé straightens, and for a moment she is no longer a farmer. no longer a refugee. She is the Queen of Naboo, the Senator of the Republic, the voice that once challenged Palpatine to his face. But the time for hiding is over. The Empire is hunting my children. They will never stop hunting my children. The only way forward is to bring the Empire down. Your children. Bail Organa's eyes move to the twins, who stand behind their mother like shadows. Force-sensitive, I assume. More than that. Padmé's voice is steady. They are Anakin Skywalker's children. The room goes silent. Bail Organa sits down heavily. Mon Mothma's composure cracks for just a moment. Around them, the other rebel leaders exchange shocked glances. Anakin Skywalker, Mon Mothma repeats. The hero with no fear. The Jedi who became Darth Vader. Yes. Padmé doesn't flinch from the name. They know. They've always known. And they are stronger for it. Bail looks at the twins, really looks at them. He sees Padmé's fire in Leia's eyes. He sees something of Anakin's reckless courage in Luke's stance. And he sees something else, something harder to define. Hope, perhaps, or destiny. They could turn the tide of this war, he says slowly. They could do more than that. They could end it. The negotiations that follow take weeks. There are those who fear the twins, who see their parentage as a liability rather than an asset. There are those who don't trust Padmé, who wonder where her true loyalties lie. And there are those who simply can't believe that anything good could come from Darth Vader's bloodline. But Padmé has spent her entire life winning impossible debates. She speaks of the Jedi who once were. Of their failures, yes, but also their potential. She speaks of her children, of their compassion, their strength, their unwavering commitment to justice. She speaks of the Empire's crimes, of the Death Star rumors that have just begun to circulate, of the billions of lives that hang in the balance. And she speaks of Vader. He is not invincible, she says. He is a man, broken, twisted, but still a man. And my children are the one weakness he has, the one thing that might reach whatever remains of him. You believe he can be redeemed? Someone scoffs. Padmé is silent for a long moment. I believe that Anakin Skywalker loved me more than anything in the galaxy. I believe that love created two children who carry his power and my conviction. And I believe that when the time comes, he will have to choose between the monster Palpatine made him and the family he lost. She pauses. I don't know which he will choose, but I know that choice will matter. And I know my children will be there to force him to make it. In the end, they accept her. Padmé becomes a leader of the rebellion. Not the leader, for she has no interest in that kind of power, but a voice that helps unite the fractured cells into something stronger. Her political skills, rusty though they are, prove invaluable. She knows how to negotiate, how to inspire, how to turn enemies into allies and setbacks into opportunities. More importantly, she knows the Empire from the inside. She knows Palpatine's methods, his weaknesses, his blind spots. She helps the Alliance exploit them. The twins, meanwhile, begin their true training. The rebellion has few Jedi. Most were killed in the Purge, and the survivors are scattered and hiding. But it has other teachers. Combat instructors who can help Luke hone his natural talents. Strategists who can help Leia develop her tactical mind. Pilots who can push Luke's already supernatural abilities to their absolute limits. Soldiers who can teach Leia the brutal realities of ground combat. And the ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi, who appears to them sometimes in quiet moments, offering guidance from beyond death. The Force will be with you, he tells them during one such visitation. always. But remember, it is not a weapon. It is not a tool. It is a connection to every living thing in the galaxy. Your strength comes not from dominating it, but from flowing with it. Luke takes these lessons to heart. He meditates for hours, learning to feel the currents of the Force that flow through all living things. He practices moving objects without effort, feeling rather than thinking, becoming an extension of the Force rather than its master. His training progresses rapidly, and within a year, he constructs his own lightsaber, a blade of brilliant green that hums with hope and promise. The crystal came from a hidden Jedi cache that Obi-Wan directed them to, one of many secrets the old master left behind. The first time Luke ignites the weapon, he feels something shift inside him. He is no longer just a farmer's son, a refugee, a child of tragedy. He is a Jedi, perhaps the last true Jedi in the galaxy. The responsibility is terrifying. The possibility is exhilarating. He becomes a pilot of almost supernatural skill, leading rebel squadrons against impossible odds and somehow, miraculously, bringing them home. Other pilots start to whisper about him, about the young man who can feel TIE fighters before they appear on sensors, who can thread needles through asteroid fields, who never seems to lose a wingmate. "You fly like your father," one of the old Clone Wars veterans tells him once. Same instincts, same crazy maneuvers, same absolute confidence that you'll make it through. Luke doesn't know whether to feel proud or frightened. Both, he decides. Both at once. Leia's path is different. She has her mother's talent for leadership, her father's tactical brilliance, and a fury that burns like a star. She trains in combat not as an art, but as a necessity, learns to channel the Force into precise, devastating strikes. Her lightsaber, when she finally builds it, burns blue. The color of the Jedi who came before, the color of the order she intends to rebuild. But she wields it differently than Luke does. Where his movements are fluid and graceful, hers are sharp and efficient. Every strike serves a purpose. Every parry leads to a counterattack. She becomes a leader on the battlefield, as much as in the command center. Soldiers follow her because she never asks them to take risks she wouldn't take herself. Officers respect her because her plans actually work. Enemies fear her because she shows no mercy to those who prey on the weak. "You're too aggressive," Luke tells her after one battle. "You take too many risks." "I'm effective." Effectiveness isn't everything. The Force tells me to protect people, to fight injustice, to strike down evil wherever I find it. Leia's eyes blaze. "That's what I do. That's who I am. But at what cost? I felt the darkness in you during that last fight, the anger, the hatred. Hatred for slavers and murderers. Is that so wrong? It's dangerous. You know what happened to Father." The words hang between them like a blade. But beneath her discipline, a war rages. Every time she hears Vader's name, every report of his atrocities, every rumor of his cruelty, her hatred grows. She cannot understand Luke's compassion for the monster that destroyed their family. She cannot fathom how her mother still speaks of Anakin with something like love in her voice. "He's evil," she snaps at Luke during one argument. "Pure evil. There's nothing left to save. You don't know that. You can't feel what I feel. I feel plenty. I feel the darkness in him, Luke. The death he spreads everywhere he goes. How can you look at that and see anything worth redeeming? Because I also feel the conflict, the pain. Somewhere inside him, there's still a man who wanted to be good, who loved our mother, who would have loved us if things had been different. Things aren't different. That's the point. They don't resolve the argument. They never do. But when the battle comes, they fight side by side, and that is what matters. The war rages for years. The twins grow from teenagers into young adults, forged in the fires of combat and tempered by the losses that define any war. They watch friends die. They see planets burn. They learn the terrible calculus of rebellion, the sacrifices that must be made, the prices that must be paid. Luke loses his first wingmate over the jungles of Felucia, a young woman named Jin, who had taught him how to properly maintain his X-Wing's targeting computer. One moment she was beside him, calling out tie positions. The next, her ship was a ball of fire, and her voice was gone from the comm forever. He doesn't sleep for 3 days afterward. He meditates instead, trying to find peace, trying to understand. Obi-Wan appears to him on the third night, sitting beside him in the empty hangar. Loss is the price we pay for connection, the old master says. Every person we love is a hostage to fortune. But the alternative, to love no one, to care for nothing, that is a far worse fate. The old Jedi would have said differently. The old Jedi were wrong about many things. That was perhaps their greatest error. Leia loses people too, but she processes it differently. Each death becomes fuel for her determination, another reason to fight harder, strike faster, end this war as quickly as possible. Every day this continues. More people die, she tells the Alliance leadership. We cannot afford caution. We cannot afford patience. We must take risks if we want to win. And if the risks fail, then we die fighting instead of hiding. At least we will have done something. Her mother watches these developments with growing concern. She sees the fire in Leia's eyes, the same fire that once burned in Anakin's. She tries to counsel patience, to warn against the dangers of absolute conviction. Leia listens politely, then goes back to planning the next assault. Through it all, Padmé remains their anchor. She is no longer young. The years have carved deep lines into her face, and gray streaks through hair that was once richest brown. But her spirit remains unbroken. She leads by example, putting herself in danger alongside her soldiers, refusing the safety that her rank might afford her. She negotiates with reluctant systems, convincing them to join the rebellion or at least look the other way when rebel ships pass through. She mediates disputes between alliance factions, keeping the fragile coalition from tearing itself apart. She speaks to the soldiers before battles, reminding them what they fight for, giving them courage to face impossible odds. And she never stops watching the shadows for the one enemy who truly frightens her. Vader knows about the twins now. The Inquisitor's death alerted him, and his subsequent investigations confirmed his worst fears, or perhaps his greatest hopes. His children are alive. His wife is alive. They are fighting against everything he has built. He dispatches probe droids by the hundreds, searching for any trace of them. He interrogates captured rebels with a fervor that unsettles even his most loyal officers. He pores over intelligence reports, looking for patterns, for connections, for any hint of where they might be hiding. Part of him wants to destroy them. They are traitors to the Empire, enemies of order, threats to everything Palpatine has created. Part of him wants to join them. They are his blood, his legacy, everything that was good in him, preserved and grown and fighting for justice. The conflict tears him apart. He begins making mistakes. Small ones at first, overlooked by his subordinates. A fleet that arrives too late to catch rebel ships. Intelligence that goes unreported. Opportunities that slip through the Empire's fingers. Palpatine notices. Of course, Palpatine notices. "You are distracted, my friend," the Emperor observes during one audience. Your thoughts are clouded. Is there something you wish to share? No, my master. Liar. The word is almost affectionate. I have known about your children for years, Lord Vader. Did you think you could hide them from me? Vader says nothing. The Force crackles with his rage, his fear, his desperate hope that Palpatine doesn't know everything. They are strong, the Emperor continues. Perhaps the strongest Force users to emerge in a generation. Their potential is magnificent. His yellow eyes gleam. Bring them to me, Vader. Turn them to our cause. Together, we will rule the galaxy as a family. And if they refuse, then you will destroy them, as you destroyed the Jedi, as you destroy everyone who stands against our empire. Vader bows his head. Yes, my master. But as he leaves the Emperor's throne room, something shifts in the darkness of his soul. A crack appears in the armor of the Sith. A memory surfaces. Padmé's face, her voice, her faith in the man he used to be. He will face his children, but he will make his own choice about what happens next. The confrontation comes at a place called Endor. The Empire is constructing a new weapon there, a second Death Star, more powerful than the first. Intelligence reports describe a battle station capable of destroying entire fleets. Its super laser refined and enhanced, its defenses nearly impenetrable. The rebellion has staked everything on a desperate mission to destroy it, committing their entire fleet to a battle that will either end the war or doom them all. Padmé is there. She leads the ground assault team personally, despite protests from her commanders. I didn't survive this long by hiding behind others, she tells them. If this is our final battle, I will be on the front lines. Luke is there. He pilots the lead starfighter squadron, his supernatural reflexes guiding his X-Wing through impossible maneuvers. The other pilots follow him without question. They have seen what he can do, and they trust him completely. Leia is there. She commands the capital ships, coordinating the fleet's attack with the ground assault, calculating angles and timing with the precision of a master strategist. Every order she gives is calm and measured, even as the battle rages around them. And Vader is waiting. He has felt them coming. Through the Force, through the bond that connects all Skywalkers, he has sensed his family approaching. He stands on the observation deck of the Death Star, watching the rebel fleet emerge from hyperspace, and he makes his final choice. He will face them, but he will do it on his own terms. He captures Padmé first. She is leading a ground assault on the shield generator when she walks into his trap. The Endor forest is thick and dark, filled with shadows that seem to move on their own. Her team advances carefully, senses alert for any sign of danger. They don't see the trap until it's too late. Stormtroopers emerge from hidden positions, surrounding her team with military precision. They are elite units, not regular infantry, but specialized forces trained for exactly this kind of operation. Their weapons are drawn, their aim steady. And then he appears, emerging from the trees like a nightmare made manifest. Padmé. His voice has not changed. After all these years, the mechanical breathing, the modulated speech, they are exactly as she remembers from the hollows, from the nightmares, from the scattered reports that filtered through to her hiding places. But there is something new beneath them, something that sounds almost like pain. Vader? She doesn't reach for her blaster. She knows it would be useless. You kept them from me. The accusation hangs in the air between them. For 19 years, you kept them from me. I kept them from what you became. They are my children. They are children. That was the point. She steps forward, and the stormtroopers around her tense, but she ignores them. You slaughtered younglings in the Jedi Temple, Anakin. Children who trusted you. How could I let you anywhere near our own? The name hits him like a physical blow. Anakin. She still calls him Anakin. That name no longer has any meaning for me. Then why does it still hurt to hear it? He says nothing. He can't say anything. The truth she has spoken cuts deeper than any lightsaber. Take her to my shuttle, he orders his troops. Inform the Emperor that we have captured a rebel leader. Nothing more. As they lead her away, Padmé looks back at him, and for just a moment, she sees the mask slip. She sees the ghost of a boy who dreamed of freedom. A man who loved her more than life itself. A monster who still, somehow, remembers what he was. Luke feels his mother's capture through the Force like a knife to the heart. He is aboard the rebel flagship when it happens, preparing for the final assault. Leia is beside him, running through tactical scenarios, when he suddenly staggers, clutching his chest. Luke, what is it? Mom, He has her. Leia's face hardens. Then we go get her. Leia, wait. I need to think about this. What's there to think about? Vader has our mother. We save her. End of discussion. It's not that simple. He wants us there. He's using her as bait. I know he's using her as bait. I don't care. Leia grabs her lightsaber, checks her blaster. Are you coming or not? Luke looks at his sister. Her determination, her rage, her absolute refusal to back down, and knows there is no talking her out of this. There never was. I'm coming. But Leia, promise me something. What? When we face him, let me try to reach him first, the man he was. Before I what? Kill him? Leia's laugh is bitter. Is that what you think I want? I think you haven't decided yet. And I think that decision might be the most important one you ever make. They stand there for a moment, siblings who have never been apart for more than a few days, who have trained and fought and grown together all their lives. They know each other better than anyone else in the galaxy. Fine, Leia says finally. You get one chance, one. After that, I'm ending this. That's all I ask. They steal a shuttle and descend to the Death Star. The confrontation unfolds exactly as it was shown at the beginning. Padmé stands between her children and their father, her wrists still bound, her spine still straight. Vader's breathing fills the corridor. The twins' lightsabers hum with power, green and blue, hope and determination. You took everything from me, Anakin, Padmé says, but you will not take them. I am not here to take them. Vader's voice is strange, haunted. I am here to give them a choice. What choice? Leia snaps. Join you? Become monsters like you? No. He looks at her, really looks at her. And beneath the mask, something breaks. Look at you. You have your mother's fire, her conviction, her strength. His gaze moves to Luke. And you? You have everything I should have been, everything I threw away. Father? Luke steps forward, lowering his lightsaber slightly. It's not too late. Come with us. Help us end this war. Help us destroy the Emperor. Luke, don't, Leia begins. The Emperor is too powerful, Vader says. You don't understand what he is, what he can do. We understand better than you think. Luke continues to advance until he is standing right before his father, close enough to touch. We've been fighting him our whole lives. We've been preparing for this moment since we were children, and we're not afraid. You should be afraid. Maybe. But fear doesn't stop us from doing what's right. It never has. It never will. Vader looks at his son, his beautiful, brave, impossibly naive son, And he feels, for the first time in 2 decades, something like hope. "The Emperor will kill you," he says quietly. "All of you. He will destroy everything you love, just as he destroyed me. Then help us destroy him first." Padmé's voice cuts through the darkness. She has worked free of her bonds. Of course she has. She was never truly helpless. And she stands beside her children, united, unbroken. "Anakin, please, for me, for them, come back." The moment stretches. Vader stands at the crossroads of his life, torn between the darkness that has consumed him and the light that still somehow burns in the presence of his family. Palpatine's voice crackles through the comm system, cold and amused. "Lord Vader, I trust you have secured my new apprentices." Vader looks at his wife, his children, the family he never thought he would have, the family he destroyed and rebuilt without knowing. "No, my master," he says. "I have secured something far more valuable." He ignites his lightsaber. "I have secured my redemption." The battle that follows is unlike any in the history of the Sith. Vader leads his family to the Emperor's throne room, cutting through stormtroopers and royal guards with brutal efficiency. He knows every corridor, every security protocol, every weakness in the Death Star's defenses. He helped design many of them. The royal guards are the most dangerous. Elite warriors trained specifically to protect the Emperor, armed with force pikes that can block lightsaber strikes. But they have never faced anything like this. A Sith Lord who knows all their tactics. 2 young Jedi whose power in the Force surpasses anything they've encountered. And a mother with nothing left to lose. "Stay close to me," Vader tells them. "When we reach the Emperor, let me engage him first. He will underestimate my loyalty to you. That will be his mistake." Padmé wants to argue. Every instinct screams that this is a trap, that Vader is still the monster she fled from 2 decades ago. But she looks at her children, at the hope in Luke's eyes, the grudging respect in Leia's, and she chooses to believe. Just this once. Just for the chance that everything might have been worth something after all. The final door looms before them, massive and ornate, decorated with the symbols of the Empire. Vader pauses before it, his hand raised. Beyond this door, there is no turning back. Whatever happens, know that I am grateful for the chance to make this choice. "Less talking," Leia says. "More walking." Despite everything, Vader almost laughs. The doors to the throne room slide open. Palpatine is waiting, of course. He sits on his throne, fingers steepled, eyes gleaming with malicious amusement. The room is vast and empty, designed to intimidate, to make visitors feel small and insignificant before the Emperor's power. It doesn't work on the Skywalkers. "Ah, Lord Vader, and your lovely family. How touching." He gestures, and the doors slam shut behind them. The Force seals them, locks that no physical power could break. "I had hoped you would betray me. It makes what comes next so much more satisfying." "You knew," Vader says flatly. "From the moment you learned your children survived, I knew. Did you truly believe you could hide your thoughts from me? Your hopes? Your pathetic dreams of redemption?" Palpatine laughs, a dry, rattling sound that echoes through the chamber. "You are exactly where I want you, my apprentice. You and your precious children." He rises from his throne, and the Force around him darkens. The temperature in the room seems to drop. The lights flicker. Something ancient and terrible stirs in the shadows. "I have been looking forward to this," Palpatine continues, descending the steps slowly. "The children of Anakin Skywalker, the offspring of the Chosen One. Such potential. Such power, wasted on rebellion and sentiment. "We're not interested in your offers," Luke says, his green blade igniting. "I'm not offering anything, boy. I'm taking. Now, let us see what the offspring of the Chosen One can truly do." The lightning comes without warning. It arcs from Palpatine's fingers, a torrent of raw dark side energy that would kill any normal being in seconds. Vader throws himself in front of his family, catching the blast with his lightsaber, holding it back through sheer will. "Go!" he roars. "Flank him! Together!" Luke and Leia move. They attack from opposite sides, their lightsabers weaving patterns of green and blue light. Palpatine deflects their strikes with the Force, sending them flying backward, but they land on their feet and attack again. They are young and strong and fighting for everything they love. Palpatine is ancient and powerful and fighting for everything he has built. The battle is brutal. Vader engages the Emperor directly, their red blades clashing in a duel decades in the making. He knows all of Palpatine's tricks, all of his moves, but he also knows that the Emperor has always held back, always kept something in reserve. That reserve is revealed now. Palpatine fights like a creature unleashed, his speed and power far beyond what any of them expected. His red blade becomes a blur, striking from impossible angles, forcing Vader back step by step. The dark side swirls around him like a hurricane, feeding his attacks, strengthening his defenses. He strikes at Vader, at Luke, at Leia, keeping all three off balance, exploiting every opening. His laughter rings through the throne room, cold and triumphant. "Did you truly think you could challenge me?" he snarls, deflecting Luke's strike without even looking. "I have been mastering the dark side since before your grandfather was born. I have manipulated the galaxy for decades. I have destroyed the Jedi Order, conquered the Republic, built an empire that spans the stars. And you, children playing at war, you think you can stop me?" "We can try," Luke gasps, pressing his attack. "Try and fail, as all who oppose me fail." He gestures, and the Force itself seems to crystallize around Leia, holding her in place. She strains against it, but the Emperor's power is too great. "Such fire," Palpatine muses, studying her. "Such anger. You would have made a magnificent Sith, child. Far greater than your father ever was. I would rather die. That can be arranged." He raises his hand, lightning crackling at his fingertips. But before he can release it, Vader's blade comes down, forcing him to defend. The moment of distraction is enough. Leia breaks free, her blue blade sweeping toward his neck. Palpatine ducks, twisting away, but Luke is there, cutting off his retreat. For one moment, the Emperor is on the defensive, facing three opponents who refuse to give up. Then he laughs. Impressive. Most impressive. The Force explodes outward from him like a bomb. All three Skywalkers are thrown backward, crashing into walls, struggling to rise. "Disappointing," he sneers as he throws Luke across the room. "I expected more from the children of Anakin Skywalker. You got it." Leia comes from behind, her blue blade aimed at his heart. Palpatine pivots, catches her strike, and flings her into the wall. But the distraction is enough. Vader's blade comes within inches of taking Palpatine's head. "Enough!" The Emperor raises both hands, and the Force itself seems to shatter. The three Skywalkers are thrown in different directions, crashing into walls, struggling to rise. Electricity crackles through the air, making their hair stand on end, filling their lungs with the smell of ozone. Palpatine walks toward Padmé, who has been watching from the edge of the room, unable to help, unable to flee. His yellow eyes gleam with malice. "You," he says softly, "you are the root of all my problems. If you had simply died when you were supposed to, none of this would have happened. Anakin would have had nothing to hope for, nothing to fight for. He would have been mine completely. Sorry to disappoint. She raises her blaster. It won't hurt him, she knows. But she'll be damned if she dies without a fight. Mother! Luke moves, not with his feet, with the Force. He reaches out and pulls his mother toward him, away from Palpatine, just as the Emperor's lightning arcs through the space where she was standing. And then Leia strikes. She has been lying in wait, playing dead, gathering her strength for one final assault. She launches herself at Palpatine, not with her lightsaber, but with her body, tackling him to the ground, disrupting his concentration. "Now, Father," she screams, "now!" Vader doesn't hesitate. He plunges his lightsaber into Palpatine's chest. The Emperor's eyes widen. His mouth opens, but no words come out. The Force storm around them dies. The lightning fades. "You," Palpatine gasps. "You were always my greatest disappointment." "No," Vader says quietly. "I was always your greatest failure." He twists the blade. The Emperor dies. The aftermath is chaos and silence in equal measure. The Death Star's systems begin to fail. Palpatine's will was holding together more than anyone knew. The twins and their parents flee through collapsing corridors, Vader leading the way, his knowledge of the station their only hope of escape. They reach a shuttle bay just as the Rebel fleet's attack reaches critical mass. Proton torpedoes streak toward the reactor core. The station shudders. "Go!" Vader shoves them toward a shuttle. "Get to hyperspace. Come with us." Luke reaches for his father's hand. "You can make it." Vader looks at his son, his daughter, his wife. "I have much to answer for," he says, "but I am grateful that I got to see you, to know what you became." "Anakin." Padmé's voice breaks. "Don't you dare. Not now. Not after everything." For a moment, Vader hesitates. The darkness pulls at him. The temptation to surrender, to die as he deserves, to let the station become his tomb. Then he feels Luke's hand in his. "We need you," Luke says simply. "The galaxy needs you, not as a weapon, not as a symbol, as a man who made terrible mistakes and found a way back. There is no way back for me. There's always a way back." Leia steps forward, and there are tears on her cheeks. The first tears Vader has ever seen her shed. "I hated you. I wanted you dead. But if you die here, you prove that the darkness wins, that people can never change, that there's no hope for anyone who's ever fallen." She takes a shaking breath. "Don't prove me right, Father. Prove me wrong." Vader looks at his family, and he chooses. They escape the Death Star together. The station explodes behind them, a second sun in the Endor sky. The shockwave rocks their shuttle, but Luke keeps them steady, his hands moving across the controls with supernatural precision. Through the viewport, they watch the symbol of Imperial tyranny die in fire and light. Across the galaxy, the Empire crumbles. Without Palpatine, without Vader, the chain of command fractures into 1,000 pieces. Admirals and Moffs who spent decades jockeying for position suddenly find themselves without a master to serve. Some surrender, some flee, some fight on, desperate and directionless. The rebellion has won, but the work of peace is just beginning. On the shuttle, the Skywalker family sits in stunned silence. The adrenaline is fading, replaced by exhaustion and the dawning realization of what they've accomplished. Leia is the first to break the silence. "We actually did it." Her voice is small, almost wondering. "He's dead. Palpatine is dead. The Empire isn't," Luke points out. "There's still a war to fight." but the head is gone. The rest will follow. Padmé leans back in her seat, feeling every one of her years. She has been fighting for so long, first as a queen, then as a senator, then as a fugitive, then as a rebel leader. For the first time in decades, she allows herself to imagine a future without war. It is almost too much to comprehend. She looks at Anakin, for that is who he is again, despite the armor, despite everything. He sits apart from them, his breathing labored, his hands trembling slightly. "Are you hurt?" she asks. "The Emperor's lightning damaged my life support systems." His voice is weaker than before. "I will survive, but I will need medical attention. We'll get you to a medical frigate as soon as—" "No." He shakes his head. "First, we return to the fleet. Your people need to see that their leaders are alive, that the mission succeeded. Then you can deal with me. Deal with you. I am a war criminal, Padmé. The things I have done." He trails off. There must be a reckoning, a trial, justice for those I have wronged. Luke starts to protest, but Anakin raises a hand. "This is not negotiable. I will not buy my freedom with my family's reputation. The galaxy needs to see that no one, not even the father of the new Jedi, is above the law." Leia studies him for a long moment. Something shifts in her expression. Not forgiveness, not yet, but perhaps the beginning of respect. "You mean that?" "I do." "Then we'll make sure you get a fair trial. Not a show trial, not a lynching. A real hearing with real evidence and real judgment. That is all I ask." The shuttle enters hyperspace, carrying them toward an uncertain future. In the years that follow, the galaxy struggles to rebuild. Vader, no, Anakin now, for he has reclaimed that name, surrenders himself to the New Republic. His trial is the most watched event in galactic history. Billions tune in to see the monster answer for his crimes. The courtroom is packed every day. Survivors of the Jedi Purge testify. Witnesses from destroyed worlds share their stories. Intelligence officers present evidence of atrocities that shock even those who thought they knew the Empire's true nature. Anakin sits through all of it, his face hidden behind the mask, his breathing the only sound from the defense table. He does not deny anything. He does not make excuses. He simply tells the truth, all of it, from his fall to his redemption, and awaits judgment. When asked about his motivations, he is painfully honest. "I was afraid," he says. "Afraid of loss, afraid of powerlessness, afraid of being the helpless slave I was as a child. Palpatine found that fear and exploited it. He showed me a path that seemed to lead to safety and strength. I took that path, and I destroyed everything I claimed to love in the process." "Do you regret your actions?" "Every day, every moment. There is no act of service, no amount of penance that can undo what I have done. But I will spend whatever remains of my life trying." The verdict is complicated. He is guilty of countless atrocities. No sentence could possibly balance the scales. But he is also responsible for the Emperor's death, for providing intelligence that saved millions of lives, for turning the tide of the war. In the end, they spare his life. But he will live it in service to those he wronged. The rest of his days are spent helping to rebuild what the Empire destroyed. He works on planet after planet, asking nothing for himself, seeking no glory or thanks. Some hate him still. They always will. They stand outside whatever facility he's working at, holding signs, screaming accusations. He accepts their hatred as his due. But others, seeing his labor, begin to whisper that perhaps change is possible. Perhaps even the worst of us can find a way back. Padmé returns to politics. It feels strange after so many years in hiding. The Senate chamber is different now. New location, new faces, new structures. But the work is the same. The same debates over resources and priorities. The same struggle to balance competing interests. The same endless negotiation and compromise. She throws herself into it with the same passion that once made her the most respected senator in the Republic. She joins Mon Mothma and Bail Organa in founding the new Republic, bringing her experience and her fire to the monumental task of rebuilding democracy. Her first speech to the new Senate draws on everything she has learned about leadership, about sacrifice, about the price of freedom. "We stand here in the ashes of an empire," she says, her voice carrying through the chamber. An empire built on fear and oppression and the systematic destruction of everything we held dear. But we are not defined by what was destroyed. We are defined by what we choose to build in its place. She pauses, letting the words sink in. We can choose vengeance. We can hunt down every imperial collaborator, every officer who followed orders, every citizen who looked the other way. We can fill our new republic with prisons and executions and the same fear that the empire used to control us. Or we can choose differently. We can offer amnesty to those who lay down their arms. We can rebuild rather than punish. We can show the galaxy that democracy is not just another form of power, it is a better form. A form that uplifts rather than oppresses, that heals rather than wounds, that believes in the possibility of change. She thinks of Anakin, of the monster he became, and the man he became again. I have seen the worst that sentient beings can do to each other. I have lived through the fall of the Republic, the rise of the Empire, and the long darkness that followed. And I have learned one truth that I will carry with me forever. Her voice strengthens. No one is beyond redemption. Not the collaborators, not the soldiers, not even the architects of our suffering. If we believe in democracy, truly believe in it, then we must believe in the capacity of every being to change, to grow, to choose a better path. The chamber is silent. Then applause begins. Slowly at first, then building, until the entire Senate is on its feet, acknowledging not just her words, but everything she represents. The queen who became a senator, the senator who became a fugitive, the mother who raised the galaxy's last hope. She argues for clemency where others demand vengeance. She pushes for reconciliation where others want division. She fights for policies that rebuild infrastructure, that provide education and healthcare, that give former Imperials a reason to embrace the new order rather than resist it. It is not a popular message. Not at first. Too many have suffered too much to forgive easily. But slowly, the galaxy begins to listen. We cannot build a better galaxy on hatred, she tells the first New Republic Senate. We must build it on hope. The hope that anyone can change, that any wound can heal, that any darkness can be overcome. It is not a popular message, not at first. But slowly, the galaxy begins to listen. Luke and Leia become the founders of a new Jedi Order. It is not an easy process. They argue constantly about philosophy, about training methods, about the very nature of the Force. Luke favors a gentler approach, meditation, contemplation, gradual development of powers. Leia wants to create warriors, protectors, guardians who can defend the innocent. In the end, they find a middle path. They reject the old ways, the restrictions, the emotional suppression, the fear of attachment. They remember how those rules failed their father, how the Jedi's rigidity drove him into Palpatine's arms. In its place, they create something new, an order that embraces connection, that sees love as a strength rather than a weakness, that learns from the failures of the past. The old Jedi were afraid, Luke tells his first class of students. They are gathered in a garden on Yavin Fort, the same moon where the Death Star was destroyed years ago. They saw the darkness and tried to hide from it. They taught that attachment led to fear, fear to anger, anger to suffering. And in trying to avoid suffering, they created more of it than they ever imagined. He pauses, letting the words sink in. We will train you differently. You will learn to feel your emotions, not suppress them. You will learn to love without possessing, to care without controlling. You will face the darkness, inside yourselves and in the galaxy, with open eyes and open hearts. A young student raises her hand. But what if we fall? What if the dark side takes us, like it took Darth Vader? Luke considers the question carefully. It is the question he has asked himself 1,000 times. Then we will reach out to you. We will not give up on you. We will believe that you can find your way back, just as our father did. The greatest mistake the old Jedi made was treating the fallen as lost forever. We will not make that mistake. Leia's approach is more practical. She trains warriors as well as peacekeepers, strategists as well as diplomats. Her students learn to fight, but they also learn to question, to ask why they fight, and whether there might be a better way. Power without wisdom is just another form of darkness, she tells them. We must be both strong and thoughtful, fierce and compassionate, ready to fight and ready to forgive. Her classes are harder than Luke's, more demanding. She pushes her students to their limits and then beyond, forging them into something resilient and unbreakable. You are too harsh with them, Luke tells her after one particularly grueling session. I'm preparing them for reality. The galaxy isn't gentle. It doesn't grade on a curve. But we should offer them hope as well as strength. I'm offering them survival. Hope comes after. The twins never agree on everything. They argue about tactics and philosophy and the best way to train the next generation. Their debates become legendary among the students who gather to watch them spar, not with lightsabers, but with words, each trying to convince the other, neither ever fully succeeding. But they argue as siblings, not enemies, knowing that their bond is stronger than any disagreement. And somehow, in the tension between their approaches, a balance emerges. Students learn both Luke's compassion and Leia's determination. They become Jedi who can fight and heal, who can strategize and meditate, who carry the best of both twins within them. And Anakin watches it all. He watches his children grow into leaders. He watches his wife rebuild democracy from the ashes. He watches the galaxy slowly, painfully, begin to heal. Sometimes Luke visits him, and they talk for hours about the Force and the old days and the future they are building. Luke has a gift for seeing the good in people, for believing in possibilities that others have abandoned. He asks questions that Anakin has never considered, about the nature of redemption, about whether the dark side is truly evil or simply power without wisdom. I used to think there were two sides, Anakin admits during one such conversation. Light and dark, good and evil, Jedi and Sith. But it's not that simple. The Force is everything. The Jedi tried to use only half of it. The Sith embraced the other half too completely. Perhaps the truth is somewhere in between. That's what we're trying to teach, Luke says. Balance, not the absence of darkness, but the integration of it. Understanding it without being consumed by it. I was consumed. And you found your way back. Only because of you, because of your mother, because of Leia. Anakin pauses. Without my family, I would have died in darkness. That's the lesson, isn't it? Connection matters, love matters. The old Jedi forgot that. We won't. Sometimes Leia visits, and they sit in silence, the wounds between them too deep for words, but slowly starting to close. She doesn't forgive him, not fully, not yet. She's not sure she ever will. But she comes anyway, week after week, because she needs to understand. She needs to see the man behind the mask, the human being beneath the monster. I hated you for so long, she tells him once. I used that hatred to fuel my training, my fighting, everything. You were the enemy, the ultimate evil. I was. But you were also my father, my blood, part of me. She struggles with the words. I don't know how to reconcile those things. I don't know if it's possible. It may not be, Anakin says quietly. Some wounds never fully heal. Some betrayals can never be undone. But that doesn't mean we stop trying. Why? Because the alternative is giving up, letting the darkness win, accepting that people can't change, that mistakes are permanent, that there's no hope for anyone who's ever fallen. He meets her eyes, his eyes, she realizes. They have the same eyes. I refuse to believe that, even now, even after everything. Leia is silent for a long time. When she finally speaks, her voice is softer than before. Teach me. Teach you what? How you came back, how you found your way out of the darkness. I need to understand it, not to forgive you, but so I can help others, so I can recognize the signs before it's too late. Anakin considers this. It is not forgiveness. It is not reconciliation. But it is something, a bridge being built, slowly and carefully, over a chasm that once seemed uncrossable. I will try, he says finally. But you must understand, I don't fully know myself. The choice was made in a moment, almost without thought. One instant I was Vader, and the next, I was Anakin again. Something shifted. What? Love. The love I thought I had destroyed. The love I told myself I no longer deserved. It was still there. It never left. And when I saw my family standing together, fighting for me, believing in me despite everything, his voice breaks. I couldn't be Vader anymore. I couldn't serve the darkness when the light was right in front of me. Leia sits with this for a long time. Maybe that's enough, she says finally. Maybe that's the lesson. Love survives, even when everything else is destroyed. Your mother said something similar. She's wise, always has been. She saved me, long before Endor, long before the Death Star. She saved me simply by existing, by loving me when no one else would. And sometimes Padmé visits. Those visits are the hardest. They are also the most precious. I never stopped loving you, she tells him once. Even when I hated what you became, even when I feared you. The boy from Tatooine was always there, somewhere, waiting. He died a long time ago. No. She takes his hand, his real hand, the flesh and blood one that remains beneath the armor. He was lost, but he was never gone, and neither were you. Years later, on a peaceful evening in the rebuilt city of Theed, an old woman sits on a terrace overlooking the lakes she loved as a girl. Her hair is white now, her face lined with age, but her eyes still carry that fire. The fire that led a planet to freedom, that saved democracy from tyranny, that raised 2 children in secret and brought a fallen knight back from the darkness. Beside her sits an old man. He no longer wears the armor. Medical advances have slowly repaired what the lava destroyed. His face is scarred, his lungs still damaged. But he breathes on his own now. He lives on his own terms. He is not forgiven. He will never be fully forgiven. But he is here and he is trying. And some days, that is enough. Do you ever wonder? He asks. Wonder what? What would have happened if you had died that day on Polis Massa? If you had given up? Padmé is silent for a moment. Then she smiles. Every day, she says. And every day, I'm grateful I didn't. Below them, in the palace gardens, children are playing. The next generation of Jedi, trained by Luke and Leia, carrying the light forward into a future none of them could have imagined. Among them are new Skywalkers, grandchildren. The line continues. Anakin watches them, and for the first time in decades, he feels something like peace. Thank you, he says quietly. For what? For believing when no one else did, when I didn't even believe myself. You saw something in me that was worth saving. I saw you, Anakin. Padmé squeezes his hand. Just you. That was always enough. The sun sets over Naboo, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Somewhere in the galaxy, new stories are beginning. New heroes are rising. New challenges are waiting. But here, in this moment, a family sits together and watches the light fade. They have lost much. They have suffered much. They have made terrible mistakes and paid terrible prices. But they are together, and that is everything. The next morning, Leia arrives with news. There is a disturbance on a distant world, remnants of the Empire gathering, plotting something dark. She needs help. She needs the old wisdom, the old strength. Padmé listens to her daughter's report and feels the familiar fire stirring. I'm coming with you. Mother, you don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. She stands, and for a moment she is not an old woman, but the queen who faced down armies, the senator who challenged emperors, the mother who kept 2 children safe against all odds. I didn't survive this long to sit on the sidelines. Luke appears in the doorway, grinning. I told you she'd say that. You know Mother too well. I know you both too well. He crosses to Padmé and kisses her forehead. We have a shuttle waiting, if you're sure. I'm sure. Anakin rises slowly. His body is still frail, still damaged by years of dark armor and darker deeds. But his eyes are clear. I'm coming too. The twins exchange a look. They have learned to trust their father again, slowly, cautiously, through years of small acts and quiet moments. But some battles are still hard to face together. Leia speaks first. Father, are you strong enough? For this? Yes. He takes a shaky breath. I know I cannot fight as I once did, but I can advise. Plan. Help where I can. He pauses. If you'll have me. Luke puts a hand on his shoulder. We'll always have you, Father. That's the point. And so the Skywalker family sets out once more, not as Jedi alone, or politicians alone, or warriors alone, but as something more, a family bound by love and loss and the unshakable belief that no one is beyond redemption. The journey is long. The challenges are great. The Empire's remnants are dangerous and desperate, led by officers who refuse to accept their defeat. But the Skywalkers have faced worse. They have faced the Emperor himself and lived. They have watched the galaxy burn and helped rebuild it from the ashes. They have found each other after decades of separation and pain. This is nothing compared to that. In the final battle, when all seems lost, when the remnant forces threaten to overwhelm them, something miraculous happens. Anakin Skywalker stands up. He is old and broken and barely able to walk. The years of service have taken their toll on his damaged body. His armor is battered, his life support systems held together by constant repairs and sheer stubbornness. He should be in a medical facility, not on a battlefield. But his family is in danger. His children are fighting for their lives. His wife is coordinating a desperate defense against overwhelming odds. And Anakin Skywalker has never been able to stand by while those he loves are threatened. He reaches out with the Force, the same Force he once used for destruction, and turns it toward protection. It is not easy. The power does not come as easily as it once did. His connection to the Force has been weakened by years of darkness, of mechanical replacement, of spiritual damage that may never fully heal. But love is stronger than damage. Conviction is stronger than weakness, and the desire to protect his family burns brighter than any pain. A shield of light surrounds his family. It is not a technique any Jedi has ever taught. It is not something from the old Sith teachings. It is something new, born from Anakin's unique position, his experience with both sides of the Force, his desperate need to save rather than destroy. The enemy's fire splashes against it, harmless. Missiles detonate without effect. Energy weapons are absorbed and dissipated. Luke and Leia stare at their father, stunned. And Anakin smiles. "I told you," he whispers, his voice strained but triumphant. "I'm stronger than I look." The shield cannot last forever. Already Anakin can feel it draining him, pulling on reserves he doesn't have. But it doesn't need to last forever. It only needs to last long enough. Luke and Leia launch their counterattack, cutting through the enemy like twin lightning bolts. Their lightsabers flash in perfect coordination, green and blue, hope and determination, the legacy of Skywalker made manifest. Padmé coordinates the ground forces, turning chaos into order with the same skills that once managed the Galactic Senate. The remnant forces don't stand a chance. Together, they win. Together, they always win. Afterward, in the quiet of their ship, the family gathers. They are exhausted, wounded, older than they were yesterday, but they are alive, and they are together. "One more crisis averted," Luke says with a tired smile. "One more lesson for the next generation," Leia adds. "One more story to tell," Padmé finishes. Anakin says nothing. He simply looks at his family, the wife he almost destroyed, the children he almost never knew, the future he almost erased, and feels gratitude beyond words. "I love you," he says quietly. "All of you. I know I don't say it enough. I know I can never say it enough. But we know, Father." Leia takes his hand. "We've always known. Even when you couldn't show it," Luke adds. "Even when you were lost in the darkness. Some part of you never stopped loving us. We felt it." Padmé leans against his shoulder, as she did a lifetime ago on Naboo, before everything went wrong. "That's the thing about love," she says softly. "It survives. Even when everything else is destroyed, it survives." The ship jumps to hyperspace, carrying them home. Outside, the stars stretch into lines of light, a billion points of hope in the endless dark. Somewhere out there, new threats are gathering, new challenges are waiting, new stories are beginning. But for now, in this moment, a family is at peace. And that is how our story ends. Not with a battle or victory or dramatic sacrifice, but with something quieter, something more important. A family together, facing whatever comes next. A mother who refused to give up. A father who found his way home. And two children who showed the galaxy that even the darkest legacy can be transformed into light. This is the lesson of the Skywalkers. This is their true gift to the galaxy. Not power, not politics, not even the Force itself, just love. and the belief that no one is ever truly lost. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.